Well, Connor, congratulations. You made some waves with that tweet. Why did you send it?
Well, frankly, Mark, I was really annoyed specifically by one scene, and that was after he did this talk. The character's called Griff. This is the character who's been talking about the COVID vaccine spreading, quote-unquote, vaccine misinformation, which we covered on our podcast. We played the clip, and YouTube banned us for a week for playing the Coronation Street clip for vaccine misinformation. How ironic. After he came out of his talk in the community centre talking about the invading migrants, the woke agenda, well, he was confronted by a police officer because someone had dobbed him in for him and his mates dressing up in masks and beating up an Iraqi asylum seeker who's a young boy named Daryan. And it's quite funny because as soon as the police officer approaches him, they start filming the encounter, and the police officer says, "Oh, are you filming me?" And he goes, "Well, it's within his right to film him. I'm just protecting my freedom of speech." That thing, almost exact thing, happened to me outside of the Conservative Party conference, where I was talking with a local Birmingham journalist who was discussing protest by a biblical preacher who was saying some very fiery things about the LGBTQ plus community. And she came up to me and said, "Do you agree with that?" And I said, "Well, I've just spoken to the LGB Alliance. They separate LGB and QT plus, so you might have to separate those. The plus might be insidious because of certain activists who want to normalise certain things like Gail Rubin." And the police officer came over to me in a now viral clip and said, "I will arrest you under the Public Order Act if you continue your conversation because you've insulted this woman's sexuality." So what they've done here is they presented a character who's a secret neo-Nazi and said, if you film interactions like this, if you're like Lawrence Fox, GB News' very own, and film an arrest for a meme, well, it's secretly because you're hiding your neo-Nazi opinions. And it's just poisoning the well of people who don't watch GB News or don't watch podcasts like mine, who aren't politically in touch, and who will immediately go, "Oh, if you're trying to protect free speech, you must be a secret Nazi." I resent that. That's my livelihood.
Charlie Lawson, you're an iconic figure from Coronation Street. I don't remember the script being that political back in your time.
Good evening, Mark and Connor. Nice to meet you, Squire. That was some speech. Well, look, I remember in my day getting slightly pissed off because we didn't touch on the subject of Northern Ireland at all. And I felt that the character perhaps would bring it up, but it never was. But this, Connor, is a symptom of the planet we're living on at the moment and have been for about 3 years. Wokery gone completely apeshit. And the long-running drama serials or soaps or whatever you want to call them are simply trying to be relevant in their own words. You know what I mean? And they feel that they should be covering this, and that's the way they're going to do it. Now, in my opinion, listen, you're not going to get me slagging off the street because it was very good to me, and I know how hard the people work there. But in my mind, it's better just to lay off them. And I've spoken to 2 members of the cast who agree with that sentiment. And also, I've spoken to people in my village who are, of my generation or whatever, and have been addicts of the Straza, as I call it, for years and years and years. And they're not comfortable with it either. But I think I know Ian, the producer, and he's a good lad, so he is, and he's been there a while, but I suspect this probably comes from on high. Somebody gives a quiet little message in somebody's ear saying, right, time to start addressing this, and this, woke subjects. And I believe Emmerdale covered the same thing a while ago, and EastEnders did something. So they all follow suit, and it happens with a lot of storylines. My opinion, Mark, simply is you'd probably be better off leaving it alone.